welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'll be covering Who's Who in the DC Universe, issue number 26, the concluding issue of the first volume of DC's amazing Who's Who series. We have an incredible wraparound cover featuring many of the heroes, villains, and other characters who will be appearing in this issue. This issue does cover the Wizard to Zyklon, plus Angel and the Ape through the 1000. So there's some makeup characters in here in the last 11 pages that were either oversights or fans demanded that these characters be covered. And so with the 11 pages they had left, the editors responded. Very cool. This is a great cover by Paris Collins and Dick Giordano. Really love the dynamism of these covers. I do prefer them to the official handbook of the Marvel Universe covers from Marvel. I just like the interaction of the characters more on these covers. Each cover tells its own little story, and that's something I probably haven't talked about enough and during my ongoing coverage of this series, but I'm mentioning it now. So let's dive in, look at a couple of letters here. This fella, John J. Pretzer from Upland, California, points out that a few art credits were missed, including the great Scott McCloud, who drew Silver Ghost. They actually spelled his name like Bob McCloud instead of the way it's normally spelled, McCloud, the great creator of Zot and a bunch of other things, Scott McCloud. So he had his moment in the sun, a little bit marred by the fact that his name was misspelled, but it's corrected here. And we get a message from the editor, and I'll just read the first part. This is it, folks. Number 26, the end of the first edition of Who's Who. In some 832 pages, we have chronicled the facts about nearly 1,000 of our heroes, villains, and locales. The project could not have been done without enthusiasm and support of the fans, all of you who sent in corrections, laundry lists filled with omissions. The last 11 pages of this issue are a small attempt at covering a few of the people that were omitted from our original run. Some, like Blackjack, were added because you demanded them. Others, like Neutron and Angel and the Ape, were accidentally left out. So, and it goes on. I'm not going to read it all. Let's just dive in and go through this. And as I've said, I'm going to cover the updates. So you're going to get more Who's Who coverage from me because I love doing these and folks seem to like them. So it's a win-win. First off, in this issue, we have the Wizard, drawn by the great Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. First appearance, All-Star Comics number 34. Alter Ego, William Asmodeus Zard. Pretty great alter ego name there. Very cool. And yeah, he is an Earth 2 villain. I do believe he plays a prominent role in the Secret Society of Supervillains as well, which is one of my favorite 70s pre-DC implosion titles. Next up, we have Wizard World with great artwork by Mike Grell. This is another locale. And the first appearance of Wizard World in Mongo Iron Hand was Warlord number 28. Next up, we have Wonder Girl, whose existence really ceased after the crisis. So it's interesting that she's included here. Oh, and there's her longtime lover and eventually husband, Terry Long. Her first appearance was Brave and the Bold, number 60. Donna Hinckley Stacy Troy is her name. Art by George Perez, so beautiful. Wonder Girl has powers similar to those of Wonder Woman, superhuman strength and speed. She has a lasso and wears the bracelet she can use to repel bullets and other weapons. She can also glide on wind currents for limited periods of time. So, very cool. Here's kind of how they tie up the crisis. This is funny. During the so-called Crisis on Infinite Earths, the multiverse was reformed into a single universe with revised timeline. In the Anti-Monitor's final attack, he hurled Wonder Woman through time and reduced her to clay from which she had been created. As a result, Wonder Woman did not enter man's world until recently. how Wonder Girl gained her abilities and identity in the new universe has yet to be revealed. So they hadn't figured it out yet. She eventually would become Troya, but just an insanely tortured character history would follow the events of the Crisis for this character. On to the Golden Age Wonder Woman with great artwork by Trina Robbins. First appearance, All-Star Comics #8. Princess Diana, alias Diana Prince. Really classic Golden Age style artwork there. And then we have the Wonder Woman of the Silver Age, or quote unquote the modern era. Great artwork by George Perez because he was doing the title. He had left Titans to do this. He did a magnificent job as writer and artist for a while. Again, they list her appearance is All-Star Comics #6. So yeah, amazing sequence here from Perez. Nice work on this Wonder Woman. Next up, we have Wotan with fantastic art by Mike Mignola. Wow, that's really nice. Alter ego, none. Occupation, sorcerer, scientist, would-be conqueror. First appearance, More Fun Comics 55. So he is definitely one of those old DC characters, old DC villains. Really cool. Wotan is both a master of sorcery and a brilliant scientist and inventor. He can fly, travel between dimensions, and project powerful mystical bolts. He is a poor hand-to-hand combatant who prefers to rely on his magical powers. So pretty great. Next up is the Wraith. First appearance, Batman Special #1, Alter Ego Unknown. I really like Mike DeCarlo's on the art here, but he is mimicking the style of Michael Golden, which is pretty great to see him do that. A gifted inker. We don't get to see Mike DeCarlo pencils very often, and this is really a testament to how good he is, that he can just sort of ape Golden's style. Why is he aping Michael Golden, you ask? Well, Batman Special #1 is a double-sized annual-like story featuring this character and Batman, and it's drawn by Michael Golden, and it's awesome. And you can find it pretty cheap, and I'm sure it's reprinted somewhere, but it's well worth tracking down if you're a Michael Golden fan, as I am. Next up, we have Wind, Alter Ego None, first appearance, Warlord 56, artwork by the great Jan Duursema. Really nice piece here. Great artwork. Love it. Following Wind, we have the Wyoming Kid with awesome artwork by Tom Yates. Did some really great work on Swamp Thing, a.k.a. Johnny Jones, a.k.a. Bill Polk. First appearance, Western Comics #1. Really awesome artwork by Yates. Next up, we have the Goddess Exhal. Occupation, Goddess. First appearance, New Teen Titans #24. Awesome artwork here by Todd Smith, the late Todd Smith, and Larry Malstead. Because Todd Smith was an artist on Omega Men after Keith Giffen left, and so they gave him, it was natural for him to get this assignment, and he did a beautiful job here. Really cool. Next up is Yankee Poodle, another one of those great Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew characters. Awesome artwork by Scott Shaw. First appearance, New Teen Titans, first series, #16. If you ever see these issues in the dollar bins, they're not just silly animal stories. They're fun superhero stories, well worth checking out. And it's great how these characters exist in a universe beside the DC universe and can interact with DC characters when a writer wants to bring them in. They're a lot of fun. Great stories. Next up, the Yellow Perry. Let's see. Yeah, Yellow, that's very interesting. Yellow Perry. Loretta York Grant. First appearance, New Adventures of Superboy, #34. Art by Mark Evanier and Kurt Schaffenberger. So Mark Evanier, a writer, did some rough pencils here, and Kurt Schaffenberger did the finishes, it looks like. Yeah. The Yellow Perry derives all her powers from the magic book. She is able to read its spells and use the magic by touching one hand to her forehead and the other to the pages of the book. So she's some kind of magician. And occupation, housewife. What an interesting character. All right, next up, the Zamarans. First appearance, Green Lantern #16. Nice artwork here by Joe Staton. So this is it looks like a race of warrior women. Next up, we have Zatanna, one of my favorite DC magical characters with nice artwork by Gray Morrow here. Alter Ego, Zatanna Zatara. And her first appearance is Hawkman, the first series, number 4. And next up, we have her father, Zatara, the Master Magician. John Zatara is his real name. Occupation: stage magician, adventurer. So he has the same abilities as Zatanna. They can say words backwards and it makes spells. So pretty cool. And speak and they appear. The Zoo Crew. So I should have known the Z's, obviously, they were going to show up in this issue. We have an awesome double page spread of these characters by artist and creator Scott Shaw. First appearance, Captain Carrot, number 8. There's the eponymous Captain Carrot himself. So they consist of Ali Cadabra, Captain Carrot, Fastback, Little Cheese, Pig Iron, Rubber Duck, and Yankee Poodle, who we just talked about. Really fun. And I think all these characters have been covered throughout the series, but it's cool to see them all together. Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite. Probably for me, it's either Rubber Duck or Fastback. I just love those two. Next up is Zoot Sputnik. Oh yeah, Fred Hembeck artwork, great. This might be maybe our first, or maybe it's the second Fred Hembeck of this series. So it's great to see him get a shot. First appearance, Amazing Man, number 7. Occupation: adventurer. So pretty cool. Next up is the unfortunately named Zyklon. Great artwork here by Michael Bear. First appearance, All-Star Squadron 45. He is obviously a vile Nazi villain. Less said about him, the better. Great foil, though, for the All-Star Squadron. Next up is Angel and the Ape. So this is the start of either our characters who were missed out for some reason, or the fans demanded get an entry. So Angel and the Ape, great artwork by Phil Folio and Bob Oxner. And their first appearance was Showcase 77. Pretty cool. I've always been a fan of Phil Folio's artwork. Blackjack, loved him from Atari Force. He does a heel turn, then I think he comes back as a good guy. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, fantastic artwork here. I've got to do an Atari Force retrospective on the show. I just need to gather some more issues from dollar bins, and I will. It's just a matter of going down to Ides or some other dollar bin purveyor and pawing through the DC section and finding them, because they are there. First appearance, Atari Force number 1. Real name, Moses Fisk. Cannon and Saber. These guys showed up in Vigilante number 5, so there were a couple. They were doing a hard push for Vigilante at this time, so great artwork by Chuck Patton and Bruce Patterson here. Love me some Chuck Patton. I did a whole episode on why Chuck Patton rocks. Check it out on my channel. It's, I don't know the exact episode number, but if you just search, you'll find it. Next up, Captain Triumph with art by Ron Harris. First appearance, Crack Comics number 27. So this is definitely an older character. And let's see. Captain Triumph was supernaturally strong as well as invulnerable to most harm. He could fly and become invisible at will. So pretty interesting. Captain X with art by Joe Brzezowski and Gray Morrow. I love this piece here. Anything Gray Morrow does is great, even just as an inker. First appearance, Star Spangled Comics number 1, alter ego, Richard Buck Dare. Now that is an action hero name, if I ever heard one. Next up is Dragon Sword with another fantastic art piece by Tom Yates. Full name, Tyrion. First appearance, Warlord number 5. So very cool. Love that fantasy piece there. Guy Gardner, artwork by Joe Staton. In his first appearance is Green Lantern 59. Of course, we all know Guy Gardner's in the new Superman movie, which I haven't seen and still need to see before it leaves theaters. I really love Nathan Fillion, though, so it's really great that he got that role. Next up is Nodar, also a Green Lantern character. Green Lantern number 28 was his first appearance. Artwork by Vince Argondesi and Keith Williams. I think Vince Argondesi did some Infinity Inc. stuff as well as some other stuff. He was just kind of around DC in the mid 80s doing bits on different books. Speaking of Infinity Inc., next up we have Mechanique. Her first appearance was Infinity Inc. number 19. Great artwork by Todd McFarlane and Al Gordon. Cool female robotic character. Not visually reminiscent of Yocasta from the Avengers, but kind of the same deal. Really cool looking character. Next up we have Neutron with great art by Ross Andrew and Dick Giordano. First appearance of his is Action Comics 525. And speaking of my Chuck Patton coverage, Neutron features as a member of the Fatal Five in that incredibly impactful cyborg story where he gets new implants that make him appear human, but then has to give them up to save the Titans. Sad but cool story. And Neutron takes his place in the ranks of the Fatal Five during that. Fearsome Five. Fatal Five is Legion. Fearsome Five is Titans. I do get those confused from time to time. Finally, the 1000 with great artwork by Dan Jurgens and Bob Lewis. Longtime Suicide Squad anchor Bob Lewis. They first appeared in Lois Lane 105. I guess there's some kind of nefarious organization. Really neat artwork here. Then we have our inside back cover with some of the titles these characters are appearing in. And that does it. Wow. 26 issues of Who's Who, up and down. We are ready to move forward with our coverage of the various update series, Who's Who in the Legion, and maybe a few other surprises as I continue to go through these roster books, as I kind of like to call them. Really great. I'm glad you came along for the ride on these 26 issues. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.